Good morning, 11 a.m. in the Pacific time zone, November 30th, 2024 on a Saturday. And here's my audio confirmation there. And I'll pause that so we don't get picture in picture, do an exclamation mark Y, see if I get a confirmation of speaker box.
Yes, affirmative.
And my graphic audio analyzer says that did go out to you. Marvelous. Marvelous. Just marvelous. I'm going to get right into a tech topic because I had this happen this morning. Let's get a little adjustment on that since I don't do a whole lot of setup these days. Camera wasn't quite framed right. I have a NVMe drive in a Silverstone enclosure and it was full. I needed to make some space available to copy another image onto it. So I plugged it into
Yes,
Baby
affirmative.
Thank you, Sultan Ball. And so I use this utility tree size free, it's called. And it shows me there's 188.9 gigabytes in the recycle bin. So I poked around a little bit trying to find how do I empty a recycle bin on a USB drive? It took a little while to find it. Within this program itself, I tried right clicking and I did not find anything in here for empty recycle bin. But then shortly before showtime, I discovered this. If I expand that and go into one of the files, go to even just one of the files and right click, there's this empty recycle bin. So that actually is not a file, it's a folder, right? So does that empty the entire recycle bin? But when I went looking around in other places, just within Windows, where do I empty a recycle bin for a USB connected device? Am I just blind? Am I not seeing it? So I think somebody's going to answer that in chat. I'll go to chat and look for that. Let's see if I go to properties and then tools, there's this optimize and defragment. That doesn't sound right. Error checking doesn't sound right. So I'm giving you a chance to tell me in chat how to do that because apparently I don't know. And I haven't Googled it. So if you want to get the easy way to answer that, go Google it. Let's go look at chat and say hello to the people. Power to the people. Well, not too much power. Kind of took some away from you these days, didn't I? With clamping down on SpeakerBot. I don't have timestamps. Go to the three-dot menu, turn timestamps on. Happy Saturday to you. Thank you, John. Jeff Ryman enjoyed the trailer. Glad somebody mentioned something about my desk going up and down. I think it was Danielle. So that's why I chose that trailer. Parker Morse, hello. Chris Garrett, hello. Chat keeps desks connecting. It's the hotspot. It's not me, it's you. It's the hotspot. Internet stays connected. So down in the bottom right corner, down here, he flips his mouse over his connection icon, whether it's Wi-Fi or an Ethernet icon. And it says internet access. So I think that's what he means when he says internet stays connected. But get a message that the chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Oh, by the way, speaking of chat, let's go over here and do this, shall we? Come into today's video in the YouTube Live Studio, choose Edit, Customization, and let anybody participate in the chat room. I have it set more restricted by default because of that troll that we had trouble with. I think we still do if I leave that unselected all the time. Jeff Ryman, I still like IT Pro tells it all, provided there is something a little bit salacious to tell. I like that too. And I think maybe the way, Jeff, to include that, so when I come over here and look at this list, IT Pro tells all, that actually I counted 2 votes. That might have just been Jeff and me, I don't know. But this idea that I floated the other day, Doug's IT support group alternating with Doug's help desk. IT Pro Tells All could be, I could add that title after a live show is over if it had anything, revealing any secrets or anything salacious in it. And but the counter for the episode number still incrementing by 1 with each episode. I'm kind of feeling comfortable with that strategy, so we still might be able to include that. Frankie B, hello. Seldom Ball, some speaker bots. Jeff Ryman's got an orange. What's with the pillows hanging on racks from the ceiling? Oh, all right. I'll come back. I'll circle back around to that. Randy Israel, Crick Lake, Seldon Ball, Speakerbot did indeed go out. A photon. Oh, here we go. Oops. Got to move my mouse to a different one, then do Alt-2. A photon checks into a hotel. The bellhop asks, "Can I help you with your luggage?" It replies, it meaning the photon, "I don't have any. I'm traveling light." A photon is the light particle. Very good. I like that. Shalom Zavi Menor and Ran Israel. Frankie Chris, hello to the peoples. What's with the pillows hanging from the racks? What is Jeff talking about with pillows? Well, let me show you. I think this is the right one. Oh, I know it was in the trailer that he could see these. It looked like pillows. Let's see. Let's see if I can point. Yeah. That right there is a light that is pointed to the movie screen down here to reflect light on the subject. The subject is me, by the way. What I put these here for, that's a plastic taped to a cardboard frame, and it's just to block the light from coming straight down on me from above. Because if it comes straight down on me from above, then it's just all way too bright up here. And it's just, you can't even see my hair. It's just like a field of white. So that was just a low budget way. Hello, windy, stormy. Yeah, this is stormy this time because we got the thunder and lightning. So yeah, that was just a cheap, inexpensive way to just quick and dirty. I thought when I did that I would wind up replacing it with something a little more professional, but then I just never got around to it. My experience has been that all recycle bins are shown in the one desktop recycle bin. Is that not happening for this? Well, now that you mention that, I don't think I even tried that. So I'll do Windows key D, which minimizes everything that you have opened right now, and then go to recycle bin. Let's see if I turn on this one, then when I'm looking over that way, it's actually that camera. So yeah, I don't see anything here that makes reference to that. Let's see, empty recycle bin, properties. Oh, here, maybe this. ESD USB 31.9 gigabytes. Here, it's this one. 899, that's how much is occupied. Don't move to the recycle bin. This does not appear to be a way to empty the recycle bin for that. Display, delete, confirmation dialog. So you're thinking if I do empty recycle bin, that'll empty all recycle bins and not let me choose which one. I'd rather be able to choose which one, although I don't have to. I thought a recycle bin would be shown, well here, the recycle bin shown
Read
here.
chat, please.
Right click on that, and this is where I was expecting it to be. Oh, Garbage? That's for deleting a folder. I'll come to chat here in a moment. Just wanted to show first. I don't see an actual empty recycle bin here. Okay, coming to chat. That was expand recycle bin window. One column should show the original folder. Expand, maximize, I think is what he means, to maximize the recycle bin window. So if I double click on that and then maximize recycle bin, there's empty recycle bin, but this is all for this drive.
Read chat, please.
Jim says you have top chat selected. I've never seen that really makes a difference. Not on my chats, because top chat, some messages such as potential spam may not be visible when you're doing top chat. Live chat would be all messages visible. But if I don't have any potential spam, then it's not going to matter. So if I do live, you have top chat selected. So he's saying he wants me to do live chat. Do you think that makes any difference? If it did, I don't know what it was. Making Earl Grey tea. It's cold in the man cave. I am totally intolerant of cold these days. I've been running the heat. Jeff, whatever works. Lawn dog to Jeff. I got a call from Mom this morning. She's going out Coeur d'Alene Lake to watch this. That's between them. That's on that subject. Yeah, why do you care about top chat or live chat? Doesn't seem to make a difference. Yeah, in top chat, occasionally some text messages are filtered. I've never been able to identify that. Potential spam may not be visible. Has anybody seen where you can see messages that are not showing up when you see my screen? Okay. Now back here on what somebody said about how to do that with, expand Israel. Expand the recycle bin. One column should show the original folder. I totally do not understand what you're saying here. So there's the way I interpreted it. One column, original location. Yeah, but so that this is showing the recycle bin I'm looking at is not including the recycle bin of that USB drive. Those pictures are totally weird. I'm going to see if I can fix that here. Let's see that one. There's a reason I had that moved over there.
Read chat, please.
Parker Morris answers. I'm going to guess he probably just Googled and came up with that. Oh my gosh, that's way too complex for this. He's referring to an issue he was dealing with. Having a frustrating time with a remote client and Acronis imaging throwing
Read
error
chat, please.
on verification.
Read chat, please.
All right, you guys got to hold off on the read chats because there's too much for me to catch up on. This is a question coming up from the chat room about a current problem, and those I want to give priority to. That's Lawn Dog on some other subject. I'm going to be not reading your messages, Lawn Dog, because you're talking about something not show related, which is okay. I'm just not going to spend the time trying to figure out whether you're talking about the subject I'm on or not. Select open for recycle bin. Then you can sort files based on location. Yeah, but the location of that thumb drive or that USB drive isn't showing up. But let's get on to Greg's issue. Is this the first thing that he has said on this subject? Yeah, he's only got 3 messages. Having a frustrating time with a remote client and Acronis imaging throwing error on verification. So it does the backup, but the verification fails. Excuse me. Well, one thing that comes to mind is there are changes happening on your drive as the backup is running, but that Acronis should be able to handle that. So when it's verifying it, I think what it would be doing is rereading what it had just written to your backup media and then comparing that to what was on the hard drive at the time of the backup image. Because if you're doing the backup image and it does the verification right at the end of that, but if your computer is doing some things in the background, could it have changed some files that is involved in that verification? It seems like Acronis and any other imaging software would be programmed to not have a problem with that. So what else could the verification problem be? Of course, if the actual media has a problem, that would be part of it. Try doing maybe instead of the entire drive with all of its partitions, try doing the smaller partitions and see if that can successfully verify. Is the verification error happening for the C drive or is it for one of the smaller partitions? Try doing a selected files and folders backup with verification and see if that has a problem. Let's see, error while checking the metadata integrity of points in time in the archive. So that's the error message. I'm taking it that is the error message that Acronis is throwing. He says, tried check disk on destination. It will work possibly for a week, then whammo, errors happen again. Oh, so that sounds like you do have a problem on the destination drive, your backup drive, perhaps. You do the check disk and then you can do the backups without a verification problem. And after about a week, it happens again. Now, if you've only had that pattern occur once, well, once does not a pattern make. I have no idea if anybody ever said that it's a quote anywhere, but have you been able to repeat that behavior multiple times? What if you use a different backup drive? Let's see. So we're going to go Google search that message. Kind of glancing through this to see, yeah, Acronis. We didn't ask for Acronis, but if this is coming up with Acronis, then that indicates that is rather specific to Acronis. And I'm guessing, Greg, you've already done these Google searches, so maybe you want to give us a little bit more about where you're at with this. He says this backup drive is internal drive and has happened 3 times. So when you say it's happened 3 times, what I'm understanding that to mean you've done the check disk and then it works fine for a week and then it stops working. You've repeated that pattern 3 times. Is that what you mean by it's happened 3 times? I've been using True Image. Do I really want to read through these? There's hard drives. Sometimes open True Image. Last backup is good. Lately, it's been telling me error while checking the metadata integrity of point in time in the archive. Okay, so what are people saying about it? Forum topic. Here's a forum topic that looks specific to that. Greg, let me know if you've already been down this road. It makes no difference if the backup is external or an internal. So this is somebody who has tried different media. This is helpful. Oh, this is pointing us to another topic. Core issue, most likely data integrity, one caused by either memory or disk write issues when the backup is created. That sounds like somebody just throwing darts, guessing at what the problem is. So let's scroll all the way to the bottom and see if there's people say, thank you so much, that helped, that solved my problem. Sorry to hear it was a failing RAM cause. Sorry to hear that this was a failing RAM cause, but glad it is now resolved by the new RAM modules. Okay, so that would imply run a thorough test of your RAM. As a last-ditch effort to fix the problem, I decided to do an exhaustive check of my RAM. This had been working perfectly in RAM page 10 for 2 years. It was also on the QVL approved list. However, the RAM did show some failures in the hammer test of memtest 86. Swapping it with 64
Read
gig
chat,
of higher
please.
speed. Now I'm pleased. Yada, yada. Let's go see what you're wanting me to read. Zvi Minor, offline backup with Acronis. Make offline backup with Acronis. As opposed to online. So that would mean like boot the computer to an Acronis bootable and make the backup that way. That means the C drive is offline. It's not up and running. Alternatively, you could remove the drive from the subject computer, attach it to another computer, and make the backup that way. Either of those methods would be an offline backup. Zvi, have I properly detailed your recommendation there? Give me a yes or no.
Yes, affirmative.
Yes, thank you. It's Acronis 2019, so no cloud backup. When he says offline, he's not referring to a cloud backup as being online. Online would be that the computer is booted to Windows on that drive. So, yeah, cloud backup is not what he means by online. But it was a fair thought. That's why I wanted to clarify that. Yep, I looked through posts on Google. A thorough test would take a couple of hours. But if that's your problem, you need to find out. Jeff, when I back up with the Acronis, I always boot from Acronis USB flash drive. So he does not do online backups. And did Greg actually tell us whether these were online backups? If you're actually have the computer up and running on Windows and then launch Acronis and do the backup, that's an online backup, even if you're not backing up to the cloud, because the operating system is online. Seldom Ball says, when you open the desktop recycle bin, did you set the view setting to details, then right-click on row of header names and select those to be shown? Okay, let me see if I can comprehend what he's saying there. When you open the desktop recycle bin, that's what I'm on right now. This is the desktop recycle bin. Did you set the view setting to details? So here's view setting is on details, yes. Then right click on row of header names. Here's the row of header names. And select those to be shown. Select those to be shown. What those? What do you mean those? When you open the desktop, view is on details. Right click on row of header names and select the column names to be shown. Is that what you mean? No, I didn't. Those were what was already shown. But there's nothing here that would give me access to the USB connected drive. This is the recycle bin for the C drive. As I understand, that's how it works. Now, if I go to another drive that is internal to this computer, this M drive, you can't see it there, right here, this M drive. If I click on that, there is a recycle bin for
Read
that
chat, please.
drive. And here is that recycle bin. I'll come to that read chat in just a moment. If I go to this drive, here's a recycle bin, and here is that recycle bin. Now, if I right click up here, there's an empty recycle bin. That's the ticket, not here. Okay, I was expecting, why did I not see that earlier? Let's see, here does not have recycle bin here. So go into the drive. Well, I did turn on showing of hidden items. If hidden items is turned off, then we don't see that. My recollection is I did try this earlier and I didn't get anywhere with it because when I double clicked on recycle bin, it didn't go into it. Now right click here, I have an empty recycle bin. If I go up to here, right click, I do not have empty recycle bin, and property says there's 0 bytes in there, but we go into it and we find there's actually content in there. If I select all of these, does it show me how much content is there? 129 bytes? That's not true. This guy over here, this tree size, is saying that the recycle bin has 188.9 gigabytes. It's just seems strange to me that none of these show any size. Now, when I right click on the drive itself, it shows free space 604 megabytes. You might look at that 604 and this 898 and say there's a lot of free space. No, this is megabytes, that's gigabytes. So you can't even see the slice of what's available. Now, I think somebody had called me out for a read chat, please. So let's go see what that was. Original location column is already shown. Yeah, I thought I pointed that out earlier. But that was all the C drive. That none of that was showing. The recycle bin that's on the desktop does not show, or did not show for me, the USB connected drive. Yeah, okay, so I understand you meant to select, yeah, I didn't do that. The default columns were there, and it did have the original location column. The client is 60 miles away, and this type of issue takes a week for it to reappear. So the client, the computer that's having the problem with the validation, 60 miles away, takes a week for it to reappear. And I think he said he was working on this remotely. Yeah, remote client. So Cronus 2019. What? That is no cloud backup. That is fine if you're not dealing with clients and scheduling backups daily. I'm not sure what to Jeff. I think it was, I'm not, I guess I got to look at the context of that to understand it. Yeah, so he can't boot from a USB flash drive because the client is 60 miles away. Got it. Now I comprende that. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here to Baby Beast, and when I click, this is the F drive. When I click recycle bin here, I do not get empty recycle bin, but there is this garbage can. if I click on one of these, empty recycle bin was not there. Thought it was there a moment ago. Wait, what? Why am I not seeing that now? Wasn't I seeing empty recycle bin from here? Right click here. Wasn't I just seeing empty recycle bin when I went to here? There's empty recycle bin. Why is it showing now? I just right clicked on that a little while ago
Read
and it
chat,
did not
please.
show that. Ran Israel says right click on recycle bin icon in folder. Yeah, but I did that a few minutes ago and it wasn't there. All right, so here I'm going to click on this. Get it over with. I'm going to have to go back and watch this video and see if I'm just
Read chat,
Tunes.
please.
Not on yellow folders. Yeah, but earlier I did that and I did find it in here on the yellow folders. And in this tree size, if I right click here, empty recycle bin is not on this list. If I right click on one of the folders, empty recycle bin is now grayed out. It wasn't grayed out earlier. Okay, so then now it's grayed out. If I go clicking around, is that what causes the problem? No. Well, I did click to empty it once already, and I didn't see any response here. How about properties now? Do I have any free space? I do not. Is it because I have that tree size program opened? Is that locking those files? Right click here, don't get empty. Right click here, should get empty recycle bin, but it's grayed out. Right click here, don't get empty recycle bin. Control A to highlight everything. Now I'm gonna select everything except that recycle bin folder, see if it will delete these here. Do you want to permanently delete? Yeah, how many times do I have to tell you that? There. Just select them and delete them. Now, do I have free space showing? I do. Jiminy Christmas. I need to go learn how to drive buses. Get out of this. Get out of this business. Just kidding. Just kidding, just venting. Does Across have the ability to copy bad files? Well, if you did a forensic copy, where it copies every byte, all right, where am I going to next? I think I got all of the orange items. I think I got all of the read chat, please. Maybe it's time for check disk on the USB. No, I was able to delete those files when I went and did. You know, just select the folders and delete them from the recycle bin. That was from a while ago. Oh, all right. Let's go get to something that I've been putting off for a while. Not putting it off, just didn't get around to it. In Studio, Community, Comments. See if there's any held comments. Haven't had anything show up there for a while. Start from the oldest comment here. Kerry Holzman, if this was my client, I would recommend he get 2 SD cards and rotate them between uses. He can erase or format them when installing in the camera just prior to his next use. And this is a response when I was telling the story about the client who is a general contractor in the construction business. He had gone out and taken photos, and he copied them to his computer, and then he wound up contacting me later that same morning that he couldn't find them, and he was kind of panicked because he did a cut and paste. So he already, during that phone conversation, said that maybe I shouldn't do cut and paste, I should do copy and paste. That would not have solved his problem, though. And Kerry's suggestion, although it would have prevented his frustration, would not have solved the actual problem. Because what was the actual problem? Now, the way he did this is, and he's been doing this for a long time, and he's a very meticulous person, because in the construction business, you have to do things right the first time. And so that is his nature. That is his habit. So he did a cut from the USB device, the SD card, and then he pasted it onto his computer, and then he double checked to make sure the files were there. They were. Now, if they were not, he already would have burned himself because he cut them. Now, he already said in that first conversation that maybe I should not cut, I should copy and paste. So that means he would copy and paste, and then once he verifies that they're there, he would be free to go ahead and delete them. The problem, what happened here, is that he pasted them into the wrong location. And I'm sure the reason for this is because he was busy. He works massively long hours, a lot of days a week, and he's a very interesting person to work with. And he's been a client of mine, I don't know, 20 or 30 years, I suppose. One of my favorite people, I would say. And it was just the wrong location. Now, he didn't spend any time in frustration trying to figure it out. If he had done a copy and paste, he could have simply done another copy and paste if he did not do a cut and paste. If he took Kerry's suggestion and rotated SD cards, if he came back later and discovered the problem, then those files would still be on that SD card, and he wouldn't have any panic at all. He'd just go ahead and copy them again and just, I don't know what happened. However, the way this rolled out is we did determine what happened. Now, he's been doing this for years, probably as long as he's had digital cameras. And this is like not an everyday thing, because he's not always working up bids for a new job, but it's a very common thing. So he has not run into this problem before. Likely not. So I think it was beneficial that we identified what the actual problem was, and that was that he accidentally pasted them into the wrong folder. So he'll add that to his checklist of things to do. I'm sure hang on.
Read chat, please.
Get to that in a minute. I'm sure he already has multiple SD cards, because if you had a digital camera for any length of time, you're going to have multiple SD cards. Rotating them throws in some additional points of failure that I don't really care for recommending that, because let's say he's rotating those and then he gets them mixed up and takes the wrong one, or forgets to delete the files before he takes them out. I like his current method just fine. Just add that one little thing of double checking to be sure they're in the right folder. And all is good. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the suggestion, Kerry. It was definitely on point, but I know the man a little bit more than you, so I think he's okay. In any case, his method is incorrect. Copy, paste, and delete. Well, I think he probably is changing that. His method is incorrect. I'm uncomfortable with you saying that it's incorrect. It's not what you prefer. It's not what you would like to do. But I favor this. I favor this. I just don't want to quite call it incorrect. Copy, paste, and delete. I like the recommendation, and I think he already probably decided to do that. But it's all happening right then. It's not like he's going to delete the files from that SD card later and then use a different SD card. As long as he's verified that the files are there, he's good. Less pressure, yeah. So I definitely favor this, and I think he's already doing that. I think he already realized that. I'm just uncomfortable with saying it's incorrect. It's safer, but yeah, I'm uncomfortable calling it incorrect. There's less pressure, yes. I'm not going to try to figure that one out. Oh, channel comments. That's where I was at. All right. So, thumbs up and heart to Gary. Ken, wondering if this comment will... Is Ken in chat? I have a question for Ken. Wondering if this comment will show up on an unlisted stream. Yes, it does. Yes, it definitely does.
Affirmative.
And that would be Ken Stout saying he is here. That's funny. It didn't show up. I heard it in my earpiece before the chat message showed up on OBS. So let's see. Wondering if this comment will show up on an unlisted stream. Yeah. And yeah, I've had other people do that on my trailers in particular. They'll go to the trailer and put a comment on the trailer. Alice does that pretty often. In fact, I think there might be one up here from her. No, it doesn't. Nope, they're not. Thumbs up and heart. So, to Ken Stout, are you, your show last night, it sounded like you got something going on at home that I'm not sure if you'll have a normal show tonight. If you are having a normal show tonight, I'm thinking I'll probably come in and participate with you. If you think you're going to cut it short again because you got things going on, then I'll pass. But I have kind of a light weekend today and tomorrow. So that's my question to you. Are you going to have a normal show tonight? And if so, depending upon what's going on for me at that time,
Read
this
chat,
evening,
please.
I might show up before the show starts. Ken says, I have a show scheduled and check your email. All right, I'll go check my email. Not on screen. Oh, just came in. Let's see. Okay. I can show this. He says, how are you getting the comment or subscriber count to show? I just checked my comments and that is not there. Just wandering around aimlessly. Oh, I know how. That's because I have the vidIQ extension turned on. And I think you can do that even with their free version of the extension. So if I come up here to extensions, I've been playing around with vidIQ recently. If I come over here and turn it off, then that should make those go away if I refresh this page. Yeah, that was it. vidIQ. Did I already do I guess I already did the thumbs up and heart on Ken's comment. Here's from Carrie about rabbits do dig holes. And I went down the rabbit hole on this subject when I was saying rabbits don't dig holes. And several of you pointed out the errors in my perceptions. I just had an alarm go off. I need to take a little side trip here and see if Kerry Holzman has a show scheduled today. He does. So let's go do a redirect to his show. And then I'll get back onto the topic about rabbits. What was this? Oh, that was one of those phantom scheduled live streams. I know how to fix it. Okay, so there's a redirect. Yeah, so the reason why I didn't think rabbits dug holes is because as I have observed rabbits, got to add the S on the end to be plural. In their natural habitat, I never saw them dig holes. Now, the natural habitat that I'm referring to is the rabbits that were in a cage in my friend's backyard as their natural habitat. I don't know that I've ever seen rabbits in the wild. So I did not know, I'm genuine about this. I didn't know rabbits dig holes. It's just never been my perception. They live in cages. That's all they ever do, and they can be house pets. All right, I concede. Rabbits dig holes. Parker Morse says, great video. Thank you, Parker. Thumbs up. And a heart. Wabbits. Yeah, Brian, let's call them wabbits. Correct pronunciation here. Parker Morse, another great video, Doug. Those are sequential shows. Get this. The Vietnamese say, stop looking at the ceiling. There are no answers there. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that click. So when I saw this, I figured out, really? I didn't know Vietnamese. I didn't know that was a saying among Vietnamese, so I go search it. Why do Vietnamese get mad and say a lot of illogical things? So there's no answers on this. That's an illogical thing. When confronted about a mistake they have done, Vietnamese tend to get mad and don't accept it's their fault. They begin to say things that doesn't make sense. So there's actually some Google search here about Vietnamese and that comment. Vietnamese is now, but they're wrong about that. Now, the reason why Ken is saying this, because sometimes when I make a comment or something, I'll kind of look up like this, and this a few times now he's said this. Vietnamese say stop looking at the ceiling or not. How do you know that? There are answers on the ceiling, and I double dug dare you to prove me wrong about that. Maybe there's no answers on your ceiling. Now, sometimes it's actually the writing on the wall, up high on the wall, that I'm looking at. The writing on the wall is typically something about impending negative things happening. But the answers on the ceiling, they're there. They're there. So the Vietnamese are wrong.
Read chat, please.
Waiting for that chat message to show up in OBS. Read chat, please. Ken says, my Vietnamese wife tells me this all the time. Well, how is it that your wife, who is not Vietnamese, is telling you that and she doesn't bother to correct you about her nationality? Now, then also, Ken, you have mentioned this a few times. So apparently this bothers you when I look up to the ceiling. So similarly, as in buffering, it's not my problem, it's your problem. That bothers you, it's your problem. Maybe you should seek counseling. Go see a professional about that so they can help you get over that. Okay, moving on. Wabbit hole, wabbit hole. Yes, Brian.
Read chat please.
His wife. Was that your Filipina wife? See, and I said Filipina. Didn't mistakenly say Filipino. Because I know better. I know better than you. Okay. I'm gonna, what am I gonna do? Did I get all of those? Yeah, I got all of those. This next bit, topic, I'm gonna maybe excerpt this from the live stream and publish as a separate video. I've been looking at and considering what paths to take in trying to improve the progress of my YouTube channel. And the one thing that I keep coming back around to is because 2025 is upon us, and I've got all these computers among my clients' offices that need to be upgraded to Windows 11. Well, replace the computers with Windows 11 computers. I have this system that I've been working on that I think is useful and convenient, that involves being able to create a base image for an office and then replicate that to additional computers by doing backup images and restoring them to the new computers. And because Windows 11 has such a great capability of exporting and importing drivers that no prior version of Windows had, it's even feasible and plausible to make a backup image from one computer and restore it to a different computer, and then import the driver files for that different computer and make it much easier, more cost efficient to replace an office computers with Windows 11 computers. Also, as you know, if you're regular around here at all, I've been experimenting with, in cooperation with my clients who know it's an experiment, we've been experimenting with these N100 mini computers. And so far, the results have been very pleasing, very impressive. So that's another way to save money for offices that are very budget concerned. Offices that I deal with that are not quite so budget concerned, it's still an open question of whether we're going to deal with those. But it's been on my mind that if I were to create videos that show my method of setting these computers up for Windows and for the office, that those could be popular videos. But it has been kind of overwhelming on my mind. How am I going to implement this? I feel like I've got so much content that I would have to film to be able to start producing that. So I thought, well, maybe if I just give a short video, which this is what I'm talking through right now, about this process, that to see if there's any interest in it. Now, I wasn't planning to bring up this Microsoft Word document, but I'm taking a look at it right now to see if it is safe for me to show. Let's see if I think I created this document without client specific content in it, so that I could give an idea of where I'm going with this and how I'm pursuing it. Yeah, it looks like I can. So here is this document: new computer model, prepare for base image doc. So base image I consider to be the base image for any particular office. The green indicates things in this list that work with default profile. Red items do not. There's a phase 1, which is basic Windows configurations. That happens in my office, in my lab. So I've got all of these notes about that. And then we get down here a ways and see if I can spot this. That's where phase 2 begins. So phase 1 ends with making an image backup of the state at that point. So if I then am going to do an image for another office, I can actually restore this image because it is not office specific yet. Phase 2 is software installs. So I copy utilities from a folder I call base image tools, macrim reflect free, shrink the partition to make a backup partition. I'm not going to read through all of these now, but if I pursue this series of videos, it would involve, to varying extents, detailing these steps. So at the end of phase 2, I create an image backup. And then phase 3 is where I start configuring it for a specific office. So for another office, I can just restore this image, even if it's a different model computer. I've done some experiments with that, and I'm going to be doing more experiments with that. I'm going to have to publish content about it to see if it's really feasible. I'm not saying yet this is going to be successful long term, but I feel good about it. In phase 3, configure for a specific office, change the computer name to user computer for a specific office, create end user local account, sign in with the end user local account. I use Fab's auto backup, where I've done a Fab's auto backup from their current computer and then restore it to their target computer. So they have all the desktop icons, everything that they're familiar with. So it's a very smooth and easy transition for them to go to the new computer. And I've had very, very few people that have had any difficulty at all transitioning from Windows 10 to Windows 11. So there's more content in here. Let's see, this was phase 3 working on now. I think at this point, it's kind of all ambiguous. I think this is just all old content. I think that's as far as I have in these notes at this point. So I think I'm going to excerpt this piece from this video and publish it as a separate video with the appropriate title and thumbnail and see if it draws any significant views. Okay, got that off my chest. My Alexa is flashing yellow. Yeah, it's likely a dense fog warning. That's been happening like crazy. Brian knows that because he's also in California.
Sorry, something went wrong.
I wasn't talking to you, lady. I must have said her name, huh? Phil Stodd. Hello, Phil. The company I work for, a forklift dealer, still has computers with i7 2700 processors. Yeah, those will have to be upgraded. So you might be a person who would be interested in how this happens, although I don't know if you are computer support for that office. And nice to see you, Phil. I really recognize your name. Thank you. Yes, I mean i7 2700. Did I read that wrong? That's what I thought you said there. Phil, do I recognize you from Carrie Holzman's channel? Your name seems really familiar to me. And the only reason he was able to show up is because I turned off that restriction. Yeah, on this list, I do not have the option of making him an approved user. Do you handle the computer support for your office, Phil? Rick would like to see those videos. I left some comments on your past videos. All right, good enough for me. Moderator you is. Now, the reason I do that is just so I recognize that I've had interaction with you in the past, and I'm satisfied that you're not a troll. I'm not asking you to do moderator strong arm things. Where to turn next? Oh, did Ken respond about? Oh yeah, he said he's having a show tonight. And part of the reason for my interest in doing that and letting you know that I'm going to be there is because I have not been doing Zoom sessions on my Saturday shows for a while. At the moment, I kind of think that's going to stick because it's just a lot easier. I'm a lot more relaxed by not always feeling the pressure to get back to Zoom
Read chat,
and
please.
interact there. So to let you know that I'm going to be on Ken's show tonight, if you want to be involved with Zoom interaction with me, there's where you can have that. So Zavi Menorah says at 58, did you manage to get to Josh's problem? Yes, I did. Josh and I got together on Friday, after Friday's show yesterday. We wound up delaying a little bit because I had a phone call I needed to deal with. So I connected remotely to his computer and I recorded the experience. Oh, you know what? I can just go show that now. It turned out to not be much of a issue. He was not having a problem with Macrium Reflect. It was something that he saw that he thought needed to be dealt with, and it didn't. And basically, I told him, don't worry about that. Just leave it as is. So I'm going to see if I can bring that up and let's see, let you chime in on it. If I can figure out where it is. I wonder if did I delete it? All right. So yeah, I don't see the recorded video there. I might have 11, that was November 29th. So that's a video. That's not him. Go to earlier in the day. Yeah, after yesterday's show, I have no locally recorded video until late afternoon. So I must have deleted it. I can show you what it was. Because, and I guess it's worth mentioning because somebody else might see something like this and be concerned about it. So here I'm in Macrium Reflect and showing the drives that are on this computer. What he had was he had his backup drive connected. I think it was through a USB connection, and it had two partitions on it. It had one partition that was taking up from about this point on through the rest of the drive, and he had a partition over here that looked like it was taking up a lot of space. And what he was wanting to do is to remove that partition so that he could have more space. And the thing about it is that this, what looked to be 40% of the drive was actually one of these little 16 megabyte partitions, very, very tiny in size. And I said, it's not worth even fussing with. Yeah, we could delete it and expand your partition, but I don't know why it's there or what it was originally. And it's just a fraction of 1% of your overall drive space. So I said, it's really not worth anybody's time to deal with. Just let it go. So we didn't wind up doing anything with it. Thank you for directing me back to your question, because I totally forgot about it. Hang on a moment. Tonight's show has been edited for title now. Thumbnail will follow shortly, and hopefully it has good resolution. Hopefully you paid attention to the resolution that thumbnails are supposed to be. Phil Stott, I work as a mechanic, but everyone usually comes to me for computer issues. Awesome. Glad to have you here. Please come in with any questions you have or experiences that you've had where you've solved a problem. That's totally what I want this channel to be about, what I'm
Read
trying to
chat,
get it more and more
please.
focused on. See you later, Selden Ball. You actually got it. Good boy. Good, Dougie. Yeah, I understood what you're saying about having edited the title and the thumbnail. What was this up here about searching the recycle bin? Oh, Zvi, search in the recycle bin. Was that
Read chat,
directed?
please.
Was that directed to me or somebody else? Maybe that's between him and Lawn Dog. I don't know what's going on there. The resolution comment, duh. Yeah. I don't know where you go to create your thumbnails, but if like there's a what was this thing called? I have it over here. You can use the free version of Canva.
Read chat, please.
I'll get to there in a moment. And create a design. In the free version, you can do YouTube thumbnail. It automatically does the 1280 by 720. If you start in there, then you're automatically getting the right proportions. You can copy from somewhere else and paste it in here and just stretch it out to make it that size. I kind of jumped into that pretty quick. Create a design, and then see right here when you float over YouTube thumbnail, it tells you right there 1280 by 720 pixels. Now let's go see that read chat message. Delete recording. Oh, for the deleted recording of Josh. Good point. I probably should take that off screen to search that because some of my files that I delete may have client identities on it. So here I'm looking at the C drive, and the recycle bin is not visible there. Now I could go launch the recycle bin from the desktop or go here to hidden items, because sometimes the recycle bin isn't on the desktop. I should be able to get to recycle bin, and I can't. It's not there. Really? I said show hidden items and recycle bin isn't there. How come it's there on a thumb drive and not there on... Do I want to... All right, I'm going to do Windows key D. That minimizes everything. Then I'm going to reopen OBS so I can see that. And here's recycle bin. So let's go there. Take that off screen. And then sort by date deleted. Yeah, this looks okay. I can show this stuff. So yesterday, the 29th, 8 a.m. was the first deletion. This would have been prior to the session with Josh. So it can't be that. I do not see it there. That's strange. Was it Friday? Yeah, it had to be Friday because I didn't do a show on Thursday. Was it Wednesday? Was it that long ago? Was it actually Wednesday, the 27th? No deleted files on Wednesday. So
Read chat, please.
If it was Wednesday, maybe it was still in there. Ken is saying he thinks it was Wednesday. All right. So I'm going back to look at the 27th. Um, 27th. Yeah, I think so. Launching this video to see if this is it. Okay, I'm mute that audio and yeah, that was it. That's what it was on Wednesday. All right, so I'll pause it at this point. Yeah, so there is audio, conversation between Josh and I, and here is his backup drive. It is looks like, wait, 47 terabyte drive. Really? Nah. 47,000 gigabytes. That's 47 terabytes. Does he have like a 50 terabyte drive? What? But here's this 160 megabytes. By comparison, this is minuscule. And this is what he was concerned about. I don't know the history of this drive, so I'm very reluctant to delete this partition and expand it. Now up here, is there a decimal point there that I'm not seeing? I'm thinking there must be, because that's not a 47 terabyte drive, is it? He's got 38 gigabytes of occupied space. Nah, what is that? Ken in chat says it's ghetto. It could be anything. Dan the Man says 476.92 gigabytes. So there's a decimal point that I'm not seeing. That makes a whole lot of sense. So it's essentially a half terabyte backup drive. That makes sense. Thank you for that. It is not clear. Maybe over here. File system. No, that's showing the drive that's selected. No, it's not a DAS array. I think it's 476.92. Now I think I can barely see that decimal point. What is there? I'm looking for a magnifying. Let's see if I do. What's the magnifying glass command for Windows? Windows key M maybe? Is there a magnifier here? Here. Plus or minus. Magnifier. Windows key plus. Windows key plus. Magnifier. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that's a very familiar number, 476.92. I think that's a normal way that the number is shown for a 500 gigabyte drive or 512 gigabyte drive, whatever you want to call it. All right. That does it. Answers that. Just not worth dealing with that 160 megabytes. I don't know how it got there in the first place. It may or may not be something that is desirable later, but it's just not worth messing with. Falls into the realm of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That is not broken. He thought that was making less space available for doing backups. It's an irrelevant amount. Yep, Dan the Man, you were right. $50 terabyte, yeah. Is it possible to come across an advertisement in Amazon for a 50 terabyte drive for under $200? You betcha. You betcha it's possible. You might see that advertised. There are ways to lie. You lie like a rug. Wintermute says, yes, you could find that. Is it real? No. Well, the advertisement is real. Is the drive real? Here, let me do this since I know Ken is watching. The advertisement is real. Just because I know it drives Ken and his wife bonkers. I'm pretty sure in Drive Manager we can simply delete that partition, and I don't know that I've ever done this, but I think you can expand that second partition into the empty space just within disk management of Windows. But no, I wasn't going to take the time. I didn't think it was worth it. There was nothing broken. His backups are working fine. Yes, Steve Gibson did create a free tool for checking the drive and discovering marketers who are lying about the size of the drive, because it's pretty easy for a drive manufacturer or supplier to put in code on the drive that lies about the size. So you can plug it in and Windows can tell you the false size, but Steve's tool for checking the actual size, it's free. It's not about data recovery. For those of you who just get all your feathers ruffled anytime you hear Steve's name, grc.com, freeware, utilities, ValidDrive. ValidDrive 1.0.1. He'd recently created this, if I remember correctly. Quickly spot check any USB connected mass storage drive for read, write errors and fraud. ValidDrive conducts a data preserving 576 region spot check to test the readability, writability, true storage presence of any drive size. Why was this created? Where's that? Does that ever scroll? This looks like just a screenshot. I can't scroll. I think when you actually have the program on your computer, I'm pretty sure it's a portable program. They're 2023 copyright. During the development of SpinRite 6.1, GRC's premier mass storage maintenance data recovery system, I know your arguments about data, anytime data recovery is mentioned. We detected that fraudulent and substandard quality USB drives had become a real problem. And it takes a while to run this, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure it does, because it's actually testing the drive. It said spot checking. So anyway, there it is. You can download it for free. grc.com, freeware, utilities, ValidDrive. He's created lots of free utilities. I have not spent time with them, I admit. It needs to solve a problem for me, and I just don't have many problems. Oops, okay. Don't look up. Look to the side when you're trying to make a point or say that something that I just said was somehow not completely genuine or legitimate. Brian, I was just looking at my ceiling. Not sure if it's the best ceiling in the world, but it's definitely up there. Did you find the answer you were looking for? The people who look up to the ceiling, they usually find the answer that they're looking for. So it must be written up there. Yeah, that it was created because Amazon has been selling them. Amazon isn't going to check them. It's been going on for decades. There's already software to do this as well. Yeah, I'm sure Steve's software isn't the only one to do it. Are there any questions? I should get into the habit of at the beginning of the show saying the main purpose of this show is to answer people's questions or to secondarily talk through the stories of their recent successes in dealing with Windows troubles. So questions are welcome in chat. They're welcome by email, and they're welcome by comments on any video. That is the main focus of this channel. It's supposed to be saying that at the beginning of the show. Someday I'll learn how to do. Someday I'll learn how to be a YouTube content creator. Oh, and something that I can always fall back on if there's no topics to talk about. Yeah, Ren says put it in the trailer or maybe in a bumper at the beginning of the show if I go back to doing bumpers. But doggone it, I lost what I was going to say. What was I just saying? Oh, that I can fall back on is recent stories with clients. I get involved in the craziest, outlandish tech support issues that I think, as far as I know, other technicians don't seem to get involved in. But I think it's because I'm kind of a one-stop solution for my clients' technical issues. So here's a story. I had a client, just an occasional client, not very often. It is a major flower shop. And when I say major flower shop, what I mean by that is it's not just your corner flower shop where you go in and order flowers for your anniversary or something like that. They supply, in fact, I don't even know if they have a retail outlet. Their main business is to supply plants for offices, for businesses. So they go on a regular basis and will swap out those plants, or in some cases even manage the watering of those plants. And they are kind of a full service plant vendor for businesses who want plants in their office. And they have some major name clients among their clientele, because I've been in their QuickBooks to help them with things, and I see those names. There are some names of people who are very, very wealthy. And it's not just businesses. They'll supply plants to people's residences. You know, the people who have multiple full-time staff working on their premises. Anytime you drive onto their property, there are gardeners working because the gardeners are full-time and the house staff are full-time. These level of houses can have one of these plant service companies. So anyway, they were having trouble with their QuickBooks. And the owner called me and said, my bookkeeper is just beside herself with this. And it's because she's been sending late notices to some of their really high-end customers, and the customers contact them back and say, hey, we paid this. We paid it online through that button that's on your bill that says pay online. We've been paying there. Well, what happened was somewhere back in history, we think the owner of the company probably clicked on something to say, yeah, we want to do that. It would have been a question along the lines of, do you want to be able to receive payments online? They clicked yes, and they didn't know that they have to do some follow-up with that in their QuickBooks to connect those payments that are being made so that their clients automatically get credited for that. So people were making these payments and the funds was coming to their account, but it was not getting recorded in QuickBooks. I didn't know how to do this. And I told them that, no, I don't know how to do this, but I'm sure I can fix that. It's just another Tuesday for me to come across something I've never seen before. That is the job. It's not the job to know how to fix everything. The job is to know how to figure out anything. So I connected remotely to her computer and we went through a few menu options. I did a couple Google searches and found the solution. And it just, when we got to the right place, it just walked us through these fixes. And we got to this one menu option, and she said, no, I never choose that one. And it was the right one to choose to complete the configuration of connecting these online payments to their QuickBooks account. Now, the money was already coming in to their checking account. So that's like the money was there, but she didn't know how to get them to connect, to automatically credit. So she had actually manually given them credit for some of those payments. Once we got the automatic payment method set up, then we became aware that now the clients had a double credit because she manually entered their payment. And once we got the connection properly made, the automatic crediting of those payments was added in. So I showed her how to fix those. Actually, they had a button. QuickBooks had a button for fixing that. It worked really smooth, really easy. By the end of the phone call, she was beside herself with joy. Oh, this is going to be so easy. I love this. Now, when the owner called me, and when I got on the phone with the woman, they both had said the rest of the office are so they're just tiptoeing around her because she's in such an awful mood, because there's so much stress about this, that she's been sending late notices to these very, very wealthy, good clients of theirs, and there's an embarrassment about it. And so anyway, it's just a story to tell of something that I got involved in. I've never been involved with before, never seen it, did not really know anything about how it works, and was able to find it reasonably easy. And now I became their hero again. Do you hear my garbage truck out front? Since this was Thanksgiving week, garbage came on Saturday instead of Friday. All right. Put it in the trailer. Did you order it? Getting through. Lawn Dog, if there's something that you want me to read, direct my attention to it. You know how to do that, but you've just got more conversation going along than I want to try to absorb. Do they reconcile their bank account each month? Excuse me. Now let me think about it. Since the money was going in, they would be reconciling with their QuickBooks. I'm thinking, now I don't know that offhand. I don't know the answer to that. They only call me when they actually have a problem. It's possible that when they reconcile their bank account, the reconciliation was working because their bank account is automatically connected to their bank, and so the transactions come in. But what was missing was that the credit to the customer's invoice was not happening. So the reconciliation can work even if the customers are not being credited in their account with my client. But they did know that there was a problem, and they've known this for some period of time. I don't know how long. And they were trying to solve it on their own. But then when they turned to me, I got it solved pretty quickly for them. And every time a client has that experience, they become more and more inclined to call me early when they discovered a problem. Now, that's like the construction company story that I told you, where he's having problems with copying the pictures. Mistakenly, during my first conversation with you about it, I think I started telling you that he had tried to resolve it the night before, but I wound up realizing I was wrong about that because he had gone out that morning, taken pictures, come back and cut and pasted them. Hang on. And then I think pretty quickly realized something went wrong. Then he left his office. I imagine he had to. I imagine he was working against a deadline, which he often is. His front office admin person called me and said that he needs help with something. So he told her to call me and introduce the problem. And so I called him on his cell phone. He was out in the field. He told me about what was going on. So I connected to his computer and did some work with it. I think I already gave you some story about it. But anyway, he knows to call me quickly. He calls me early. He will not, beat his head over something, because he has learned too many times that when there's a problem he doesn't know how to solve, just call me. Just call Doug. It's worth it. A lot of my clients have that routinely, and they even tell their staff, hey, don't try to fix it yourself. Just call Doug. Because they know I'm just going to bill them for the time that they use. They're not taking advantage of me, that I'm going to not charge them for a short thing. Some people don't like when they call for a short little thing and I don't bill them for it. And it's best for their people, their staff, to use their time to do what they're supposed to be doing, rather than trying to solve a tech problem. My uploads, let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that one. Phil, I recently had an issue with Windows 24 H2, an identical pair of Western Digital USB drives that I was using for making backups. You want to tell us more about the issue? Did you solve it? There's definitely, I want to hear the stories of your solutions and talk through them. Zavi Menorahs, I remember he took pictures at 7:58 that morning. Yeah, because thank you, Zavi. He's always looking, and many of the others of you are looking at the details, noticing things that I didn't notice. So yeah, the pictures were from that morning where I was telling you about it. So he took pictures at 7:58. By the time I did my show with you at 9 a.m., I had the solution and told you about it. I think it was that same day. Surprising, between the 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. we solved the issue. I think that's true. I think that's the way it worked. Garbage truck out front, I thought it was your stomach rumbling. So he recently had issue with Windows 24 H2 and an identical pair of Western Digital USB drives that I was using for making backups. Yeah, what was the issue? I determined which one was causing the problem, tested it on a Windows 10 machine, and did not have the problem. So one of those identical drives was having a problem. What was the problem? I'll give you some time to give us more information about that. And I have another story to tell, similarly, where a client, they spent some time trying to solve a problem. What this was, as a cell phone, many of my clients are allowed to receive their company email on their cell phones. And they actually have to be authorized for that before it happens. If the staff member just calls me and say, hey, can I have an email on cell phone? It has to be approved by the company. So I'll set that up. And for one of them, it got broken. It wasn't working anymore. So when she contacted me, she told me that she had already tried with the office manager to solve the problem. So they already spent some time trying to solve it themselves. I don't know how much time. It was not urgent. So it actually took a few days. She was saying, hey, when you're out here for something else, come and look at my cell phone. I said, sure. That didn't happen for quite a while. So last Saturday, I needed to go out to the office. This is the Law 40 office. I had to go out on Saturday. It was the every other week, bi-weekly, to rotate their backup drives. So I said, I'll be there on Saturday. Are you going to be in? She said, yes. Sometimes she works on Saturdays. So we coordinated so we would be there at the same time. So I went into her office and looked at the phone. And when I looked at the email on the phone, it was showing the sent items folder. So I'm upper left corner, touch the left arrow, gets back to her list of folders. I touch inbox and I see current emails. I said, are these your current emails? And she said, yes. How'd you fix it? I said, I didn't fix it. It was in the sent items folder. Do you know how to maneuver between sent items folder and inbox? She says, yes, I do. We were looking at the inbox. We did maneuvered back and forth. And my new emails, my current emails were not coming in. So this was an occasion where I actually didn't fix it. The symptom just disappeared on its own. It was all of a sudden working again. We have no idea what happened. But in this office, their staff are authorized to call me asking for help on tech issues. They do not have to ask for permission. In the past, they did. But now the owners have just gotten over it. They just said, just call Doug and get it solved. So that was just a story of something I did not fix. When I showed up, it was just working. Do I have any more from Phil? Yes, I do. Testing on Windows 10. The one that was the issue would not allow a power on boot on a Dell desktop. I could not even get into BIOS setup. I have seen things like this. Hang on for a moment. If that drive is plugged into the computer, when you power on the computer will not boot. Even if the boot priority is set for the internal drive to boot first. I don't know what causes it, and I can't swear to that symptom. But here's Phil saying he had 2 identical Western Digital drives. Now, I'd be interested in seeing the partitions on that. Does one of them maybe have like that partition that Josh Kinder's had? Is that still up? Yeah, it is. Primary unformatted. And then this one is primary NTFS. Well, that one's actually an unformatted partition. Oh, do I dare say this? He could right-click on that partition in disk management, not in Macrim Reflect, and delete the partition. And then expand this partition to fill up the whole space. Josh, my recommendation is don't do it. Don't bother with it. It's not broken. It's not causing you a problem. If you start messing with it, it could cause you a problem. Now, he actually only had one backup image on this drive. He could, for instance, delete both partitions and then create a new partition for the whole space. Sorry, I just wasn't willing to spend the time on it. Because it wasn't a problem, wasn't causing him a problem. Yeah, so one of these drives, I'm suspecting if you look at the drive information in disk management, are they different? Could not even get into BIOS setup. If that drive was plugged into the computer just will not even get into BIOS setup. I moved all the files that I wanted to keep from that drive to the NAS. Probably means copied them. Since we know, don't move them, copy them. Once you verify they're at the new location, then delete them. Jim has never seen this happen on a streaming machine. I leave an SSD enclosure plugged in. It takes forever to boot. Is it faster when you don't have it plugged in? I've seen this happen on the streaming. Oh, I have seen it happen. My mind was reading that he has not seen
affirmative.
it happen. So yeah, if you keep it plugged in, and I've seen that kind of thing. No computer is completely screwed until it's been Joshified. The second drive would allow the computer to boot normally. Both were bought at the same time. Yeah, but have they been treated differently? So go right-click on you know this, right-click on the Windows button, and this is showing up on my monitor 2. There you can see the menu. And go into disk management. And that came up on monitor 1. And look at those 2 drives specifically. See those connecting to virtual disk service? This has taken a while to load. What is causing it the struggle? There's only 2 drives there. Yeah, to see if the partitions are different between the two, and does it have some kind of primary partition that's different. After deleting everything but the files that were shipped on the drive. See, yeah, that's what I'm wondering about, the files that were shipped on the drive, because some USB drives come with their own utilities, the Western Digital utilities, in a small partition. After deleting everything but the files that were shipped on the drive, the computer would boot normal with this drive connected. This drive I'm taking to mean the problematic drive. Delete everything except for the files that were shipped on the drive. The computer would boot normal with this drive connected. So did one of the drives still have that partition that had the Western Digital drives in their own? I think it's a boot partition. I think it's a bootable partition. Yes, the problematic drive. So deleting everything except those. So whatever he had copied on that drive, he copied them to the NAS, deleted them from the problem drive, and at that point, this is surprising, at that point, the computer would boot with the drive connected. So he still had the files that came on that drive. Are they in a separate partition, or is it in the same partition where you had your content? And if you do the boot drive, whatever your boot selection hotkey is, can you select to boot from that drive? Is it a bootable partition? Yeah, he's already got his problem solved. And except that this looks like, are you saying that if you put more files on that drive, then you expect to have the problem again? Anytime a computer won't boot, remove all USB devices except for your keyboard and mouse. Maybe even remove the wireless keyboard and mouse if you're desperate. Plug in wired keyboard and mouse. If you have any secondary drives in the computer, disconnect them internally. Consider the display you have attached. Test it with another computer to see if it's properly functional. What has changed recently on the computer, and try to undo that change. But obviously he probably found that pretty quickly. When the computer wouldn't boot, he probably quickly disconnected those and discovered the problem. Also, look in the CD drive. Don't forget to look in the CD drive if the computer has one. There might be a CD that has been in there for a long, long time, and the computer hasn't been restarted for a long, long time. That was my first diagnostic procedure. Worked. It worked. Because you are a clever person. That was the first thing you tried. It wouldn't start. Remove the USB devices and boom, fixed it. And all throughout the office, the word was spreading of how incredibly smart Phil Stodd is. Anytime you have a problem with your computer, go to Phil Stodd. He can help you with that. I'm sure that spread through the whole office, and that's why you said earlier, you're a mechanic, but people tend to come to you with their computer problems because you know how to solve it. Now, if you want to, Phil, you can clip that last few moments of my video and you can publish that to the staff in your office if you want to be bothered more by their troubles, which might not be the case. We're all proud of you, Phil. Jim says, my wife insists on leaving her Honda manual on CD in her computer, then wonders why it takes so long to boot from a restart. Yeah. I'm not sure I quite have that deciphered, but I think I got an idea what it is. Yeah, Brian wants to know, Phil, do you make house calls? Ah. Yeah, so I think, what do I have on my plate for this weekend? I told you that I want to extract that piece from this video and see if I can get it published as a second video. I've got so many irons in the fire right now as to methods to grow my channel, and I was thinking this through this morning. There's just too many opportunities. I need to focus on the highest priority place to go. And I think the highest priority place to go is a video series about how I am upgrading my clients to Windows 11 computers and see if that can gain some traction. I did another, today's thumbnail was new and different, a support group. Yeah, I described that yesterday. Here's the thumbnail for today. I was using this vidIQ AI generated thumbnails. Found it very frustrating because one of its earlier revisions had Doug's IT support group, and it had the word group down at the bottom again. And when I was asking it to make some changes, it wouldn't. I couldn't get it to just make the single change that I'm asking for. When I ask it to make a change on a certain place, it just redraws the whole thing different. I just grabbed one of my pictures that had been done in a prior thumbnail and put it in there. Not particularly happy with that one. However, the YouTube experts say it's good to have the content creator's picture with some kind of emotion. Not always the same emotion. And so I just saw that one and just grabbed it, and I thought I'd just throw that mud against the wall and see if it gains any traction. So my current thinking is starting a new series that'll start with episode 1 and we'll increment, but the title might be different. One day it might be Doug's IT support group. Another day it might be Doug's help desk, or that one that, what was it, Brian that was saying he liked earlier in today's chat about something about IT tech reveals all. I don't remember where that was. Oh, you know what? It might not be here anymore because maybe it was before the show started. I think it was before the show started. See, here's the first comment now is 11:03 a.m. The chat comments before that might not replay, or it might be that we might get a few before 11 a.m. because I've seen also that when you scroll back in chat, sometimes it cuts them off. Even messages that will replay. Well, here even OBS doesn't show anything before 11:03, but it does show. Yeah, there's Jeff Ryman's comment. But over here, does anybody else see anything earlier than Jeff Ryman's comment here? Because there were a couple others at 11:03, Frankie B and Chris Garrett. But the ones prior to that are not visible here. Yeah, so the title of the show and the thumbnail might vary, but still incrementing the episode numbers and the day of the week. I do like the day of the week because I think it's helpful for people who are wondering, did I miss one of the shows? And when they know that my sequence numbers and the day of the week, I think it's easier to spot a show that they missed. Oh, Brian says it was from Jeff Ryman. Yeah, the show title that he liked, which was here, IT Pro Tells All. See, I think IT Pro is too much techie language for end users. I want to attract technicians and end users. When I say technicians, I mean pro, amateur, and enthusiasts. I think when I use help desk, it won't be IT help desk. It would be Doug's help desk. Doug's IT support group, Doug's help desk, and IT Pro tells all. When I think the content of that video is significant. And then another thing I need to do is pull excerpts out of the live streams and republish those with a specific title and thumbnail that can get search results. Those are the top things on my hit list right now. We're winding down here, getting close to the end. I am semi-retired now, still work 2 days a week, Monday and Thursday. Every day I work is a Friday to me. Yeah, because every day is, the next day is off. I kind of sort of think of myself as semi-retired because I am not working nearly as much hours in my computer support business as I have in the past. And my income is way lower than it was in the heyday. And part of that is I just got tired of being so busy. I stopped dating, so that meant I didn't need as much money. And I wanted to pursue this YouTube thing. But before the YouTube thing, that time was not really in my business. That time was in my aviation activities. So even when I was doing aviation, I was kind of semi-retired because I was not putting as much work into my computer support business. Sometimes I think sometimes I think I should give up this YouTube thing and focus on my IT business because I could make so much more money doing that. I'm not on the edge at all. I'm still very much liking this YouTube thing. And I'm still very much, as I've mentioned recently, 1 million subscribers is my target. I'm not saying that I'm going to get there next week. I'm not saying that I'm going to get there in a decade. I'm just saying that's my target. Go big or go home. Sin vicious. Sinified. Oh, sin vicious. That's his word for sin vicious. Versus Joshified. Go figure. Do you have any success stories to tell? What else has happened in my recent past? To see if I have another recent story to tell. Talked a little bit yesterday about the microphone. I have a new microphone position for when I'm standing, but I'm not standing today. I'm going back to look at recent time slips to remind me of something that I've done recently that might be worth talking about. I hear somebody out front. Oh, they're at the mailbox. Why does that not show? QuickBooks gave me they updated their thing and I can't really see a list of descriptions of my time slips, except for I can see them on a very, very short, no, they don't even show up there. I want to actually see a timesheet that has the descriptions of things that I did. Oh, maybe this. No, still doesn't have the descriptions. I click on the gear icon and tell it to include memo. Does that get the actual descriptions? Yes. Okay, good. This will work. Oh, all right. One of the offices that has the subsidized housing of buildings where for elderly and for disabled people, you have to qualify, you have to have income under a certain amount, you have to have assets under a certain amount to qualify to live in these HUD subsidized buildings. So there's a group of these businesses under an umbrella company. There's 3 of these facilities under an umbrella company. So there's 4 companies involved. And what they do on a monthly basis is they send their QuickBooks data file to the CPA's office. The CPA makes some journal entries for depreciation and a bunch of other stuff. And then they send the file back to the client business. And they were having troubles with that because at the client business, the housing building, they have to copy the file from a OneDrive folder labeled CPA copy. They have to copy that over to the folder that stores the file for their staff to use. And it was failing to copy. It looked like it copied. The operation completed. You could, do you want to overwrite? Yes. And it completed without an error message. When they open it and they go to verify or validate that they did indeed get the CPA's copy, they go look at journal entries to see if the depreciation entries from the end of the prior month are there. And they said, no, they're not. We don't understand why this is not working. Well, what I found is that QuickBooks failed to completely exit. In Task Manager, there was still a QuickBooks element open, even though the program was completely closed. So I did an in task on it, and then the copy operation completed. We were able to validate that by seeing the CPA's end of month depreciation entries. And I explained to them, if you have this happen again, you could have solved it just by restarting the computer, because that will take care of any files that QuickBooks failed to close when it was exited. And that's a thing that happens with QuickBooks desktop versions. Okay, that's 12:58. I'm going to close that QuickBooks so I don't accidentally bring that up on screen. And go look in chat. Nothing else with see chat, please. That looks like we're done there. Nothing else has come in since the last thing that I looked at. That's because everybody gave up watching, right? How many people are watching? 26. How has this episode gone? If I come over here, cancel out of that. Analytics. This shows there were some more people watching during this time, and then they started dying off. Killed them off. 99 views I have credit for. What do I need to see in here? No super chats, no members, because I don't have membership turned on. I guess that's all worth looking at there. And where is my channel at these days? Because I need to start. My method of evaluating how I'm doing is mostly focused on number of subscribers in the last 28 days, because that's an easy number. It hovers around 1 per day, new subscribers. That's the number that I'm really going to be looking for to see that increment up. I need to get to, like double that number, 56. That'll be an increment worth celebrating. But it's been hovering right around that 1 new subscriber per day for a long, long time. can see that by going over to audience, I think. Where do I see that? Growing line subscribers. I don't know it well enough. I'm just blowing smoke right now. There's some place where I could see just a long, stable growth. And it's 1 new subscriber per day on average. You're welcome. Don't sway, dying off with us elderly people still here. Don't say dying off. Oh, don't say dying off. That's not something we want. That's not verbiage we want to hear because we're old. They may have switched over to Carrie. Oh, yeah. Oh, that started about 12 o'clock. Right. And we had a little interaction back and forth between Carrie and I. He said, no, don't end your show early. Don't change your time. It's not often that he does that. So when it's you're right. You're right, Phil Stodd. Absolutely right. That's likely what happened. All right, so I'm out of here. Hasta la vista. I gotta go bounce over to Carrie's show and see the message. If you go over to Carrie's show now, before my channel sends you over there, you should be able to see the prompt show up saying that viewers came over from Live Windows Training-DougBetts. We'll see if he happens to, I'll unmute and we'll see if he happens to notice that. Okay, there we go. Goodbye. Ending it. Porky, where are you? Here, Porky. Here, Porky.